right, shalom, and welcome to another Bible study that Yahweh has enjoined unto us here in Lithonia, Georgia. My name is Esaac ben Israel, and I am the elder priest of the United Congregation of Israel. And I am joined here with the under priest, Priest Kish. Shalom, my brother.
Shalom.
All right. So, of course, we all know what time it is. 2 days ago, you started getting all of these well wishes of Christmas from all of your family, and I have just over time, after so long of being in this word, especially if I'm at work, I don't go through all of those things. It's real easy. Back at you. Same to you. Said, did you enjoy your Christmas? I enjoy any day that I get to spend with my family. I don't answer that question because I'm not finna go into all of these things. You got to first of all know that you're at your job. You need to deal with things because this is never gonna stop. In a couple of days, they're gonna start asking you about your New Year, and we know that there's absolutely nothing new about January 1st. We know that there's not one thing growing. Matter of fact, everything is completely dead by January. You probably won't have one green leaf anywhere near you. So we know what that is, and we know what it is not. So it's not necessary to keep going into those that line of conversation, because a lot of times that's just going to get you into a lot more debate in places where you need not be debating. Every place is not a forum for debate, and if you get the right kind of devil, they're going to push you into a debate, knowing that there's somebody in management that you may be ticking off. Then they will slide out of the debate once they get you to talking. That is how a snake operates. So we have to remember something. What did it say about Daniel? We should not find any problem with him unless we find that problem concerning the law of his Elohim. That means that the people who are around you, who are your enemies and frenemies, they know exactly how to get you caught up, and they will use that. Oh, he has zeal about this, so bring this up. He's gonna start talking right when the people in the office show up. Then you back up and let it look like he's just trying to evangelize everybody. So you have to be very, very careful around this time. Even when you say that you don't celebrate something, I still try to be respectful about, I don't celebrate that. But most of the times you're going to be pushed, not, of your own doing. Because when you then tell somebody that you don't celebrate it, they then get this now it's a vendetta or something. It's like they believe that you had somehow questioned them, and now they got to question you back when all you said is, I don't celebrate Christmas. Oh, what? Now here comes the level of attacks, and one of the slickest one is the passive aggressive. I feel sorry for your kids. You done bought your ticket today. You done bought your ticket. I tried to keep that ticket from you, but when you purchased that ticket, I got to give you your receipt. So now you done bought that ticket. I try to stay out of this situation, but when you throw that line, I feel sorry for your kids. Now it pushes you. A lot of times, and I heard a televangelist say that there's only one path, and if you're not following that path, you go into hell. And of course, to every one of them, their path is the right path. Nobody believes that their path is the wrong one, or else they wouldn't have been on it. So that's the first thing that we have to deal with. The next step of that, why you're getting this pushback, is, people come at you like, okay, well, you think you better than us because you don't keep Christmas. No, this is about being closer to our Elohim. And rather than saying whether or not I think I'm, better, let's see what he says. He kind of says we're better. But let's go to Exodus chapter 19 and let's see what he say. Exodus 19, and let's start this at verse 1. And I remember before I got in this word, I had never heard anything about Jeremiah 10. I never heard a pastor say anything about Jeremiah 10. I get into the word, and they basically Jeremiah 10 is explaining the whole decoration of the Christmas tree. All of a sudden now you have more Sunday pastors trying to say, well, Jeremiah 10 has nothing to do with Christmas. And anybody who reads that, talking about they cut the tree, out of the forest, they nail it down, they secure it with nails, they put silver and gold. It is nothing but the Christmas tree. The problem is there wasn't any Christ. So how could the tree or anything about it have anything to do with Christ if Christ was not born at the time that Jeremiah 10 was written? So then it has nothing to do with him then. Then now we're understanding that we're worshiping several different gods when we partake in that. Exodus chapter 19, and let's start at verse 1.
In the 3rd month, when the children of Israel were gone forth out of the land of Egypt, the same day came they into the wilderness of Sinai. For they were departed from Rephidim, and were come to the desert of Sinai, and had pitched in the wilderness, and there Israel camped before the mount. And Moshe went up unto Elohim, and Yahweh called unto him out of the mountain, saying, Thus shall you say to the house of Jacob, and tell the children of Israel, You have seen what I did unto the Egyptians, and how I bare you on eagle's wings, and brought you unto myself. Now therefore, if you will obey my voice indeed.
All right, so if you obey my voice indeed, I'm going to give you some instructions. And it bothers people when you follow those instructions or you attempt to follow those instructions. It bothers people. Go ahead.
And keep my covenant.
All right.
Then shall you be a peculiar treasure unto me above all people.
Wait a minute. So he says to the children of Israel, if you keep my covenant and obey my voice, my commandments, then you shall be a peculiar treasure unto me above all people. So when people then come at you, it's because they know you better than them. So that whole statement of, oh, you think you better than we are. No, I don't think that. You think that. So I don't have to think that. I can tell you what he think, though. Because, see, you think something, I think something, we think something. Everybody thinks something. Let's see what he think. Well, how does what I think override what you think? You think, I think, we thought. We're a world full of thinkers. Everybody thinking something. Okay. At the end of the day, whose thought overrides all of ours? So how about let's see how he feels about it, not how we feel about it. So if you abide by these things, then you shall be a peculiar treasure unto me above all people. Not because you know you Israel, that makes you above all people. See, this is where even people who come into the truth, but they want to deal with it however they want to deal with it, they think that just finding out that they're Israel makes them above all people. No, you ain't read that right. That's why we walking around talking about what tribe we in. That's why we walking around chanting. We marching on the street like at any given minute we finna stomp the yard. We think we in a college fraternity. We going down the street. What are you doing? That's not what makes you above all people. So we chant, we Israel, we Israel. No. You're not reading what this says. There were instructions that were given unto us that makes us peculiar and above all people. Not just because you did a DNA search and found out what your lineage was. Go ahead.
For all the earth is mine. Verse 6. And you shall be unto me a kingdom of priests and an holy nation. These are the words which you shall speak unto the children of Israel.
So then Yahweh was already going on a whole nother level, because we know that there is a tribe of priests. That was the Levitical priesthood. What people want to tell us, well, the priesthood is done away with. From the beginning, he's already magnifying the priesthood. They have not gotten in their own office good. And he's already talking about the magnification of his law and his way, a kingdom of priests. What it says, the children must eat first, but after that, the rest of the earth have to eat. So what does that mean? When he says to these prophets, take this roll, eat it. All right, this is this word, digest it. But that don't mean the rest of the world wasn't going to get to eat. Just the children have to eat first. This is the same thing Yahshua said. This is the same thing the woman said. But isn't it true that the dogs eat the crumbs that fall from the master's table? So after the children eat, everybody else got to eat. So that's how this tribe of priests has to eventually turn into a kingdom of priests. Because now you're talking about the entire world has to be taught. And just as, here's where it gets interesting, because all of our thoughts are always, we've done all this in the daughter of Babylon. I can't wait to go, that Yahweh allows Yahshua to come and set up a righteous governmental system, and we get up out of the daughter of Babylon and we be in Israel. Okay? If we're a kingdom of priests, the Levites didn't have no land. They were spread out amongst Israel so that they would have a priest always around them. What happens if you get, you get in the military to give you a post, right? Mm-hmm. What happens if you get, your station is Nova Scotia? Say, congratulations, you are an Israelite. You're Israelite, true indeed. Yes. All right, now go to Nova Scotia. What? No, I did all this so I can go to the land of palm trees. You know what I'm saying? That's where I want to go. Well, I mean, you'll come, in holy days, you'll come back. What? Yes. See, you didn't think I was teaching you all that for you to lay back, did you? No, I was teaching you so you can teach somebody else, and the people you need to teach, they're in Nova Scotia. Here go your ticket. One way. I'll send you another one when it's time for you to come. Now, don't come back before I call you. We never even consider that. We got and this is what ends up getting us in trouble, because we think we know how he wants us to serve. So we already build that box, and we don't look at anything outside that box. We're only looking right here, because this is all we know. This is how he's taught us. But you have to consider how he's teaching you does not mean that that's your job. He may use a job to teach you, but that may not be your eventual all-in job. That's just something he's using to teach you the aspects of that job. Go ahead.
And Moshe came and called for the elders of the people, and laid before their faces all these words which Yahweh commanded him. And all the people answered together and said, all that Yahweh has spoken, we will do.
All right. All that Yahweh has spoken, we will do. Now, we agreed to the things that would make us a peculiar people. It wasn't just like thrown on us and we didn't have anything to do with this agreement. We agreed to this contract. We said, I do. All right. So to be a peculiar treasure, you're going to have to do these things. Now let's go to Deuteronomy chapter 7. Deuteronomy chapter 7, and let's start that at verse 1.
When Yahweh your Elohim shall bring you into the land whither you goeth to possess it, and has cast out many nations before you, the Hittites, and the Girgashites, and the Amorites, and the Canaanites, and the Perizzites, and the Hivites, and the Jebusites, 7 nations greater and mightier than you.
Now, verse 1, when Yahweh your Elohim shall bring you into the land, whether you go to possess it, and has cast out many nations before you. Now, he's casting these out, but you see you and your brethren going to war. At some point, do you begin to believe that all of that is of you? That you have done all of these things? I mean, it's real easy to get on there and beat on your Israelite chest. It's real easy to get to that point. I mean, you've caused nations that were greater than you. You talking about being humble. I mean, if we fight somebody and we win a fight, we feel good. But if we fight somebody about 4 times bigger than us and we win, oh man, everybody hearing that story. Go ahead.
And when Yahweh your El shall deliver them before you, you shall smite them and utterly destroy them. You shall make no covenant with them, nor show mercy unto them. Neither shall you make marriages with them. Your daughter you shall not give unto his son, nor his daughter shall you take unto your son. For they will turn away your son from following me, that they may serve other gods. So will the anger of Yahweh be kindled against you, and destroy you suddenly. But thus shall you deal with them. You shall destroy their altars, and break down their images, and cut down their groves, and burn their graven images with fire.
Now, verse 4, for they will turn away your son from following me, that they may serve other gods. When you get down to looking at almost any television program, every program is about us not enjoying the company of one another. When you look at almost every program, there is us married to somebody else. You look at there will be a Gentile couple who's married to a Gentile. Then you'll look, it'll be either, whether it's a man or woman, it might be 2 black people in that show. The black people won't be married together. 99% of the time, neither one of them are going to be married to one another. This is subconsciously trying to push the thought that we are not good enough for one another. The man ain't good enough for the woman, and the woman ain't good enough for the man. Thereby, we need somebody else to make us whole. This is programming. Then the next black person that's in it happens to be either gay or something like that. It's always in every. Turn TV on and just keep flipping through the channel. Watch it long enough to look at those 3 things. The man, the woman, who the one gay. All right, yep. The man, the woman, who the one gay. Nick, the man, just keep going down the stations and you'll see what's happening. That is programming. See, there may be some people who are jealous of your works, and then there's others who plot against your works. So understand when it says, you shall be a special people unto him above all people. You ever notice that racism has to happen to us? Because whatever we get in, we show out. Once they let us in, it's a done deal. So everything is about letting us or keeping us out. We had our own, you talk about baseball or any of the, they said, no, y'all ain't, first of all, y'all ain't smart enough to be quarterbacks. You know how long it took for us, for them to allow us to be quarterbacks? But so all that time they were saying, you're not a thinker. The people who were quarterbacks in high school and college, they made them wide receiver. That's how they dropped us down. That was to make us think that, look, you're not smart enough for this job. Now what happened? They couldn't, they tried everything to keep them out. What happened when they got in? The entire position has changed. Now, anybody else who get the position, they say, well, look, can you do what that black guy do? And in every walk of life, it's that way. So then wait a minute. That blessing of being special is shining through. Now you look at the way other people have to take over something. They enter into business deals, get fake paperwork, end up tying up the people's money and then controlling their company. We don't do that. We don't get into something and take over it like that. We just let whatever skill we have, it just does what it does. And it's not like we're trying to take over anything. We're just trying to do what we do. So this is where the special amount of power that Yahweh has given us, when we don't understand what it is, then we not only do we use it wrong, but we let other people use it wrong. Go ahead.
You know, brother, I sent out a video to the brothers, and it's a black man goes to the Chinese marriage market. So in China, they got a marriage market where you got all these women who are looking for husbands. So here goes this African guy, and he goes out there. And of course, the women, the mothers are, where are you from? Da, 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 da. Oh, the Chinese man go and say, you're taking our resources. He's like, why don't you bring those African women over here?
Yep.
Man said, that's illegal. You trying to, but you see their thought process. He's looking at, nah, you taking our resources. We don't see ourselves as resource.
Mm-hmm.
So we quickly want to jump here and go there and be with these different people. And folks are like, no. You're taking our resources. We'll take your resources.
Exactly.
But you can't take ours.
Oh, yeah. Hey, don't they have places now in Africa where the Chinese have gone, taken up shop, and they don't even let black people go? Africans can't go down there. How you have a place in Africa that African can go, but Chinese can? Hey, bad business. What happened? They enter in and make business deals, and this is how they take over. It's not what we do. We're not going by giving people slick contracts, and there's a contract under a contract. So then when you signed it, but you signed a different contract than the contract that we showed, we don't do that. That don't come from us. You just let us in.
Mm-hmm.
That's the thing. When you talk about being a special people, you understand why people want to be this. But you have to watch how they do it. Then you understand, oh, no. If you became a group of people who took over by these means, that's not special at all. That's deception. Go ahead.
Verse 6, for you are an holy people unto Yahweh your Elohim. Yahweh your Elohim has chosen you to be a special people unto himself.
A special people unto himself. This is his desire. So then understand what comes about. The base anger. All right? Automatically, when you make an attempt to try to do what Yahweh has called for you to do, you are causing anger with the ones who know they're not going to do it. Go back to the base. Yahweh was giving us prophecy with Cain and Abel. And what did Abel do to his brother? He didn't do anything against him. He did absolutely nothing to harm him. He didn't do a thing against him. What was the problem? He was special unto Yahweh. Being special unto Yahweh made him an enemy. And instead of this individual using that to refine their works, to try to be better at what they do, they decided, hey, look, all I need to do is kill you. So Cain is not just a person. Cain is a thought process. And the sons of Cain and the daughters of Cain followed the same process. They are not going to make their works better. They're going to kill yours. Go ahead.
Brother, you're talking about, Abel being special unto Yahweh, but it also showed within him that Yahweh was special to him. just in his thought process and what he decided to present. And we show forth how Yahweh is special to us and how we deal with the things concerning him.
Right. And when you look at that, the adversaries to that want to have the relationship, but they don't want to nurture and cultivate the relationship, but they still want it. You know? You know, people see you walking down the mall and in a decent relationship, they were like, I want that relationship. All right, well, man, I got up at 5 o'clock and helped her knit a sweater. I ain't doing that. Oh, okay. But you want her though. But you want her though. But you ain't getting up at 5. Okay. But that's the whole thing with us, with people in general. They want what that is, but they just don't want to do what is needed to have that happen. Here it is. He saw what his brother did. His brother presented a better offering. Go back and make your offering better, and you can have and cultivate that kind of relationship with your father. No, I just rather kill him. Why? Because I'm jealous of the relationship, but not so much that I don't want to change what I do. So I still want to do what I do, but I want to have what he has. I started hearing over and over that how people hated my relationship with my elder. You know, they believed that he gave me special treatment. They believed all of these things. Elder spoils up. That's one of those things. They didn't believe that, hey, it's a reason why they have this. Go ahead.
Man, at the end of the day, while we read and we point out stuff, because we read it and realize, okay, Cain gave an offering, Abel gave an offering, until somebody points out Abel gave the first, which is all Cain had to go and say, okay, man, what was different between what you gave and what I gave?
Right.
You presented something, I presented something. What was different? Because even, like I said, with us just reading it, until somebody or until Yahweh open your eyes and say, the first. It's like, okay, what, he didn't like vegetarians?
you know, but you know what, though? Here's the thing. That's our thought because we're reading it hindsight. Here's the thing. Cain knew that from the beginning. He wasn't confused. Just like it says in the beginning, Adam wasn't deceived. He made a decision. No, there's a difference. We missed that. He didn't miss it. Yahweh said, if you do well, you shall be accepted. But if you do if not well, sin lies at the door. All right, go do better. What did he do? Go do worse. He told him what was going to happen. He did even worse than the offering. So he knew. He made a decision. Then, after he made the decision, everybody that see me gonna slay me. I mean, I know I killed somebody, but I don't want to get killed. I don't want to die. I want to live forever. Yahweh, protect me. What was the protection that your brother deserved? What was that? You don't think he needed some of that protection? So you want me to protect you from other people, but your brother didn't get protection from you. Go ahead.
And it's also interesting what he also said, now I'll be hid from your face. So it goes to show the relationship that he did have and messed up.
All trying to steal somebody else's. Now he ends up with no relationship with Yahweh. Because Yahweh moves him away from him. And what we look at is we say, okay, this is unfair. This man gets to kill his brother and go off and multiply. He's having family, he having kids, he having grandkids, he having great grandkids. His life is moving on. But it's moving on over there. He nowhere near Yahweh. That's the one part we don't see. I must admit it threw me in the beginning. I didn't like it at all. But then you start to figure out, oh no. He said, no. You go way over there. You won't be near me. Go ahead.
Above all people that are upon the face of the earth. Yahweh did not set his love upon you, nor choose you, because you were more in number than any people, for you were the fewest of all people.
Right, and we've already covered that, what our nation began with. So it wasn't because we was just so great and strong that Yahweh was intrigued. No, he called us out of nothing. Go ahead.
But because Yahweh loved you, and because he would keep the oath which he had sworn unto your fathers, as Yahweh brought you out with a mighty hand, and redeemed you out of the house of bondmen, from the hand of Pharaoh, king of Egypt. Know therefore that Yahweh your Elohim, he is El, the faithful El, which keeps covenant and mercy with them that love him and keep his commandments to 1,000 generations.
Wait a minute. Those who love him and keep his commandments, if we're going to love him and keep his commandments, the first thing he said, when you go in there, cut down those groves. A grove is what we would call an evergreen tree. A grove is what we would call a Christmas tree. He said, don't have none of them things near my altar. Do not have them, because I know what y'all do with them trees. Now understand, we're talking about the maker of heaven and earth and all that in them is. He made that tree. But now because of what man has done and associated that with, he said, don't have that in my altar. Because what's going to happen? The people who worship the groves are going to come to Yahweh's house. Not because they want to worship Yahweh, but because they saw the groves. Now, this gives them the opportunity to try to worship both of those things at the same time. He said, make separation between me and that right there. Don't put that over there. So, when you look at what then makes us peculiar, then we have to step out. And it is always a tumultuous thing to step out. Now it's a done thing. My family champions this life, but I remember day one. I had told myself about 30 times before I took that. Before I didn't, that tree went out that front door. I'm throwing that Christmas tree away. I was talking to me because I knew the fight that was gonna happen when I did it. So I'm in the corner. You know how you go in the corner of the ring and they be like, you can do it, champ. I'm like, yeah, I can do this. I'm psyching me up. You can do this. You can throw out the Christmas tree. Then that thought be like, boy, you about to get hit. You about to go up against the champ. Champ got 2 belts. You sure you won't do that? Yeah, I'm throwing out the tree today. You had to get yourself ready. Because I knew it was going to be a fight when I threw out that tree. To those that love me and keep my commandments. Keeping the commandments ain't always the easiest thing to keep. Because everybody around you is fighting that way. But then once you clear that path, you'd be surprised at how much, love and respect you have after you clear that path. Our problem is we want the path already clear. Well, if you the head of the house, and if the path already cleared, who the hell cleared it? Who cleared the path? If you the head of the house and you walk through the path and you say, all right, we're going to get this Christmas tree out of here. And you get, okay, well, I'll carry the other side. Wait a minute. Who the hell helped clear that path for you? Now you need to ask some questions. Who you been talking to? There's 2 years. There's supposed to be a fight going on right there. I know you helped make those ornaments right there. Wait a minute, who you been talking to? Something ain't right here. See, when you clear a path, I don't care what nobody tells you. You get hit in the face with a few branches. What was that? Yeah, that's what happened. When you clear the path, you get hit. It don't be on purpose. It just, some stuff swing back and pop you in the face. If you don't get none of that, you didn't clear that path. Somebody else cleared that path. Go ahead.
Earlier you was talking about Jeremiah 10 and how these preachers are talking about, it has nothing to do with Christmas. And what they can do is take that disconnect, because the average of us is not going in the woods and cutting down any trees.
Right.
And then we're not looking at the fact that you got to affix the ones out of the woods to make it stand up straight. Most of us got them fake ones that come out of a box with the stand already.
Right.
So it's easy to put that out there and get that disconnect, not realizing if you could afford the real tree, if there's people that's out there that's cutting down their own, that might connect with them quicker than somebody who just buying it.
It definitely connects with them faster. You know, we got our tree from Walmart, you know. And we ain't cutting it down. You know, we sure as hell ain't throwing it out. We using that same tree, going back in that box. All right, all them decorations going back in another box. We got a decoration box, we got a tree box, and then you tape that box up good before you put it back in the attic. You tape it up good, but boy, you mess up my tree. You know, so it'd be a whole ordeal to rebox that tree. You understand me? You understand me? You got to pull each little branch out. No. See, nowadays they cheating. They got a tree just flip out. Pow. Hey, man, no, man. Hey, when we were little, you got one stick. And you had to keep putting them other sticks around there and build that tree all the way up. We didn't have now it still had a little stand on the bottom, but, you know, like you were saying, ain't no cutting nothing out the forest and nailing it. That's how other people do. They take pride in going to get, you know, picking out their tree. That's part of their ritual, you know. So that is definitely a disconnect for us. But when you just examine these things, I mean, simple thought. How can this be about Christ if it was happening so long before he was on this earth? Go ahead. Let's go to Genesis chapter 17. See, part of this, you know, what Yahweh was separating, because listening to some televangelists talk about how there's only one path. Yahweh was already forging a totally new path with Israel. He was cutting Israel out of the mold of the regular world and setting forth a path. That was not set for everybody. He was going to set a path for them afterward. Genesis 17, and started at verse 1.
When Abram was 90 years old and 9, Yahweh appeared unto Abram and said unto him, I'm El Shaddai. Walk before me and be you perfect. And I'll make my covenant between me and you, and will multiply you exceedingly. And Abram fell on his face, and Elohim talked with him, saying, As for me, behold, my covenant is with you, and you shall be a father of many nations. Neither shall your name any more be called Abram, but your name shall be called Abraham. For a father of many nations have I made you.
Now, why is that important? Because Abram means one thing. Abraham, he just said what Abraham means. Verse 5, neither shall your name anymore be called Abram, but your name shall be Abraham. For a father of many nations have I made you. So your name then fits the direction that I will make to come about in your life. Why is that important? People say, well, you know, saying there's power in the name. All right, well, we got to understand that Jesus ain't it. See, the name has to fit the purpose. When you ask somebody, so what does Jesus mean? It's a Latin-Greek hybrid of something that they done made up that don't have no definition. Jesus. They scared. Don't nobody want to define Jesus. But once again, it is all of a sudden they want to change that name. And people say, well, you know, that's just the Greek version of the name. All right. Well, there's 10,000 other names in here. What are the Greek versions of those? That's fine. All right, you gonna give me your Greek. So if that's the lie that you're gonna go with, all right, I'm gonna need 10,000 more lies though. You can't just tell me one lie and there's 10,000 other things sitting right there, but you didn't make that lie for those. No. I need a lie for all 10,000 of those. They right there together. You can't just tell me that there's the English version of this name, but you don't have them for nobody else. Go ahead.
And I'll make you exceeding fruitful, and I'll make nations of you, and kings shall come out of you. And I'll establish my covenant between me and you and your seed after you in their generations for an everlasting covenant, to be an Elohim unto you and to your seed after you. And I'll give unto you and to your seed after you the land wherein you are a stranger, all the land of Canaan, for an everlasting possession, and I'll be their El. And Elohim said unto Abraham, you shall keep my covenant, therefore, you and your seed after you in their generations. This is my covenant, which you shall keep between me and you and your seed after you. Every man child among you shall be circumcised.
So now he's forging the path. And this path, he is formulating this with a certain culture. Now is the separation. You have to consider, Yahweh is saying something and decreeing something that no other nation is dealing with. He said, all right, so you're going to do this thing. I'm going to give you the covenant of circumcision. You have to just pause for a second and think about how much, first of all, this is going to set you apart, but just how strange that is. This is a covenant. I'm a God. And you know what? I need you to cut off a piece of yourself. What? Why that piece? This is strange. He said, oh yeah, right. What does peculiar mean? See, it's not going to be ordinary. No, the path that he's cutting out for you is going to be totally different. So here is this different path that he is beginning to forge, and it is different. But then that also makes sure that when people pretend to be this, they're going to have to go pretty far with their pretending. Go ahead.
And you shall circumcise the flesh of your foreskin, and it shall be a token of the covenant between me and you. And he that is 8 days old shall be circumcised among you, every man child in your generations, he that is born in the house or bought with money of any stranger, which is not of your seed. He that is born in your house and he that is bought with your money must needs be circumcised, and my covenant shall be in your flesh for an everlasting covenant.
My covenant shall be in your flesh. You can't get away from a covenant that's in your flesh. It is a covenant between me and you in your flesh. Go ahead.
And the uncircumcised man child whose flesh of his foreskin is not circumcised, that soul shall be cut off from his people. He has broken my covenant.
So then what did the nations do? They start purposely making it to where us as a people were not able to get circumcised. They start coming up with all these reasons, and you look and there were whole generations of us who did not receive circumcision. And you're like, okay, what is this about? Oh, they made little rules, and it was always something. One decade it was this, another decade it was that. What was the issue? To make sure that the seal of his covenant was not in our flesh. See, there's a difference between being peculiar and you step into something and the power of Elohim allows you to do well in it, and then for other people to make backdoor slick moves. You should go back and check some of those hospitals where that happened. You might find some very interesting things. You might find some very interesting. Go look up the names of the hospitals who just so happened to make sure that black kids were not circumcised. You might be surprised. You might be surprised. But, you might think that, Spelman is actually black, So if you go past that, you're going to find out something. All right, look up some of the names of those hospitals, and you're going to then ask yourself, well, wait a minute. So if that was these people who should have been very, very strong about circumcision, but somehow they made sure that we were not. First of all, why would they do that? Why would they do that? Because if you nobody and it doesn't matter, what difference does it make? What difference does it make? If you're nobody, why go through all of that? But if that meant something strong to you, why would you do that to your neighbor? Go ahead, brother, you got something?
No, it's not even just them though. You know we the daughter of Babylon, so the mama is England. It's like an epidemic in England where nobody gets circumcised. And I'm thinking to myself, like, why is that? But now as we're reading this, it's like, it makes sense. And the descendants of, like, a lot of the Caribbean folk, well, I can't speak for everywhere, but a lot of the folks don't get circumcised, folks. So it's like they want to continue to push that. It's not just the ish, it's the mama of Babylon as well.
Where do you think the ish came from?
Touche.
Where do you think they came from? So when you talk about the real mama, you got to start asking some questions. You finna run into all those individuals. And let me tell you something how slick the devil is. Why he telling everybody not to keep the Sabbath? Why he telling everybody not to make the holy day, not to make appearance? Where you find him 2 times in Job?
Hey
Yahweh, I tried to call you, but the line was busy. Oh, okay. Right. How many people you told not to come here? Oh, I told all of them not to come. I don't even know how they made it up here. I tried to block their path. I flat their chariot tires. I did everything. I don't even know how they got here. We're going to discuss how they got here. You know, I'll do better next time, I promise. Right. So the adversary will block your path, but he's going to be standing right there in front of Yahweh. And talking about why you ain't there. And he convinced you not to come. Yahweh, do you see Yonah? You don't see him. Me either. Right. Knowing he set you up and talk you into not coming. Go ahead, brother. Did you have something in the back?
I just wanted to know if there's any correlation. I think it was verse 15, where it says, "You must needs be circumcised, and my covenant shall be in your flesh for an everlasting."
Verse 15 or what
14.
chapter?
That's verse 14.
That's 14.
Yeah.
The same chapter we're reading. Because in the law, you always say don't.
It's 13.
13.
13.
Yeah.
I like, we're going to learn our numbers in here. We're going to learn, our next class shall be numbers. I'm going to be the count. 1, 2, 3. Okay. All right, so go ahead.
So in the law, you always say we shouldn't put no mark on our flesh.
Mm-hmm.
I was wondering if there's any correlation as far as, I know some of that had to do with the nations, they was doing stuff like that.
Right, they do all those tribal marks and all of those things. Yeah, the markings that you make in your flesh is supposed to be for him. Mm-hmm. So once you do something else, you have already lessened the mark in your flesh that's supposed to be the circumcision. Mm-hmm. So what you gonna do? You gonna go get a bigger mark than his. So now you have lessened his. Only mark in your flesh supposed to be that one that he gave you. But see, how does the adversary fight? You don't have to take something away. What you do is put it on equal footing. What is that? What you heard from TD Fakes? Every day is holy. Monday is holy. Tuesday is holy. Wednesday is holy. Whoa! What did he do? He didn't do away with the Sabbath. What he did was made every day equal to it. Boom. Different kind of evil. Different kind of evil. So if he says he commands you to do this mark, you turn around, saying, you know what, I ain't just going to get
get circumcised. I'm gonna get my fingers circumcised too. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna get my chest circumcised.
see now, how does what he said stand out? Because now you've gotten other things.
They're seen all the time.
Right. See? And now you take off your shirt and show your chest circumcision. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, look at that right there. You see that?
You go to jail with your squirrel.
Okay. Right. So, but that's what the adversary wants. Let's lessen the effect of what Yahweh decreed. Okay? So if we can lessen the effect, it's the same as doing away with it. Go ahead.
And Elohim said unto Abraham, As for Sarai, your wife, you shall not call her name Sarai, but Sarah shall her name be.
Now, you know how difficult that had to be at 99 to tell somebody,
Hey, baby, how you doing? Look here. I talked to your Shaddai yesterday, and I'm changing your name.
who you talking to? You changing who name? We're not 90s, but who you changing the name now? And look at how, Yahweh definitely has to know the kind of people that he has. It says, and Elohim said unto Abraham. He didn't say unto Abraham and unto Sarah. Abraham and unto Sarai, look, this is what you're going to be called. No. You go home and tell her new name. Now, depending on what kind of woman you got, he seeketh a quarrel with you. Because that's a quarrel right there. You should go home and tell somebody, hey, how you doing? Look,
Your new name is Sharon. Your new name is Sharon. And look, I don't want to get into no discussion about it. I just said what your new name is now. Now, come on, Sharon, let's go.
Ain't no telling how that's going to be. Boy, you better be ginger with that when you make that conversation. Go ahead.
And then you got them constant people who disrespectful, like with Muhammad Ali. Your mama named you.
Right.
And that's what I'm going to call you.
Her name was Sarai when I met her. Her name been Sarai 90 years before today. Her name going to be Sarai when I call her. There it is. You going to let this man change your name? What's wrong with you? You ain't no woman.
Here we go. Go ahead.
And I'll bless her and give you a son also of her. Yea, I will bless her, and she shall be a mother of nations. Kings of people shall be of her.
Now, wait. Who's going to come, or what's going to come from her? Which her?
Sarah.
Those nations ain't coming from Sarai. They don't come from Sarah. But what if she fight that name? You can just do one thing to turn around and it'll be a trickle effect to knock all your blessings down. What if she say,
This my mama named me this. This was special. My grandmama named Sarai. I come from a long Sarai means contention. And I come from a long line of contentious. My mama was contentious. My mama was contentious. My mama was contentious. And I'm about to start some contentious right now.
what if she did that? Does she still then get the blessing that comes with being Sarah? No, she does not. Go ahead.
Even when she wanted to claim Ishmael, you got to look at the balance of their lives. You know what I'm saying? Because even with us, you and I got that opportunity to the kids before the words and the children after the word. And we got people that's coming in who probably won't have that opportunity to see the difference of the kids before the word and the kids after the word. And you can see a major difference because you had parents before the word whose process of handling things was different.
Oh, yeah. I spent most of my time at the Little League ballpark. Whole bunch of time there. The parents operate different, which make the kids operate different. Hey, this is a totally different. You got one of them daddy named Abram, another daddy named Abraham.
I mean, when you technically look at it, Hagar was her handmaid, so Ishmael is the son of Sarai, not Sarah.
Mm-hmm. Right. Go ahead.
Then Abraham fell upon his face and laughed, and said in his heart, shall a child be born unto him that is 100 years old? And shall Sarah, that is 90 years old, bear? And Abraham said unto Elohim, oh, that Ishmael might live before you.
Right. So what we do is when we can't figure out how Yahweh is going to do something, then we try to forge our own path. Now here it is. He's forging a path. He's already given them something that's very, very different. This whole covenant of circumcision. But they don't really understand how he's going to do it. So the first thing our mind does is try to figure out how we can make this happen. How can we do what he said he was going to do? And that ends up getting us into something. But this whole thing about there's one path, we're the further we get in this reading, the more we have problems with that. Let's go to Romans chapter 3. So, start at verse 21.
But now the righteousness of Elohim without the law is manifested, being witnessed by the law and the prophets.
Now, wait a minute. So, the righteousness of Elohim without the law is manifested. Now, when we look at law, you have to understand that you have moral law, sacrificial law, and dietary law. What happens is people throw all that law into one bowl and say, yeah, everything is done away with. Understand, it is sacrificial law that put you in your right stead with Elohim. Okay, because you had broken something from either the moral law or the dietary law. So then you needed what was in the sacrificial law to fix what you had done in the other two areas of the law. Go ahead.
Even the righteousness of Elohim, which is by faith of Yahshua HaMashiach, unto all and upon all them that believe, for there is no difference. For all have sinned and come short of the glory of Elohim, being justified freely by his grace through the redemption that is in the Mashiach Yahshua, whom Elohim has set forth to be a propitiation through faith in his blood, to declare his righteousness for the remission of sins that are past, through the forbearance of Elohim. To declare, I say, at this time his righteousness, that he might be just, and the justifier of him which believes in Yahshua. Where is boasting then? It is excluded. By what law? Of works? No, but by the law of faith.
What is the law of faith? What is that? Now you tune in at the right time on Sunday morning. You gonna hear this one right here. It's funny how people don't want to say nothing about law, but boy, they like this part right here. Now they don't really explain it because this faith is what's dealing with the sacrificial law. The faith that Yahshua has become the perfect sacrifice. That then covers sacrificial law. That has nothing to do with moral law and dietary law. See, what people going to say, you can't turn around and have pork chop in your mouth. I'm eating this pork chop in faith. Right. Go ahead.
Therefore we conclude that a man is justified by faith without the deeds of the law. Is he the El of the Yehudims only? Is he not also of the Gentiles? Yes, of the Gentiles also. Seeing it is one El, which shall justify the circumcision by faith.
All right, circumcision is the natural children of Abraham. That's Israel. Justify the circumcision by faith. Go ahead.
and uncircumcision through faith.
Wait a minute now. We got a highway and a byway. So that thing that you hear on Sunday morning, they're talking about it's only one path. Somebody not reading their book. That's a lie. He just gave you a highway and a byway. One is by, the other one is through. I know you done been driving before, and they'll give you what they said. This is Highway 78. Oh no, this is Business 78. What is it? Oh, this is a bypass. What? Yeah, you can go stay on this one, and it'll bypass all them little stops in the city, and then it'll put you back on the same road. But you stay on this one, you got a lot more stops to make. Okay, now let's back up to chapter 2. All right, 2 and verse 7. Start from there.
To them who by patient continuance in well-doing seek for glory and honor and immortality, eternal life. But unto them that are contentious and do not obey the truth, but obey unrighteousness, indignation and wrath, tribulation and anguish upon every soul of man that does evil, of the Yehudims first, and also of the Gentiles.
Why does it go to the Jew first?
Circumcision.
See that here is the highway and the byway. One by faith, the other one through faith. I understand you have this street, another one comes off of that, it branches off. See, the byway is a branch, but here's the main street. The main street got to be dealt with before you deal with the byway. So the punishment has to go to the Jew first. See, if it ain't but one path, then hey, man, everybody getting it. But that's not what he says. Go ahead.
But glory, honor, and peace to every man that works good, to the Yehudim first, and also to the Gentiles.
So if the Gentile understands this, that, wait a minute, if they do good, they're going to be glorified before us just because. Then it then becomes a mission of theirs to make sure that you don't do those things. Okay?
For there is no respect of persons with Elohim. For as many as have sinned without law shall also perish without law, and as many as have sinned in the law shall be judged by the law. For not the hearers of the law are just before Elohim, but the doers of the law shall be justified.
Now, see, this is why, we went to 3 first. Shall I, is the law forsaken? Wait a minute. Now, he's giving some breakdown on dealing with this law. So they understand the difference between sacrificial law and moral law and dietary law. Not only did our people break moral law code and worshiping these gods, they also broke dietary law, because it was every kind of ham on that. One thing you'll find out, Gentiles don't have a festival without a pig with an apple in their mouth. I don't know why that pig like apples. That pig loves some apples. The pig always somewhere with an apple in his mouth. But I tell you what, so they might see one thing. Oh no, you got idol worship. You have all of these things. There's several different branches that's in those other 2 branches that were broken. So everybody's thinking about this sacrificial law. No. That's not what your problem is. You broke the other parts of the law code. Go ahead.
For when the Gentiles, which have not the law, do by nature the things contained in the law, these, having not the law, are a law unto themselves.
Wait a minute. That's the byway. It says the Gentiles which have not the law, they were not given it. So when somebody stands behind a pulpit talking about there's one path, they're telling you a lie. They don't even believe the New Testament that they read from. Go ahead.
Which show the work of the law written in their hearts. Their conscience also bearing witness.
Wait a minute, now this is talking about Gentiles with the law written in their hearts. Some who were not even given the law. So when the law is in their heart, they'll say, hey man, look, I'm sorry. You can't put that tree up in my house. I'm sorry, man. Look, I can't keep doing this worshiping on Sunday. I can't. It's in my heart, man, and it's bothering me. See, when something get in your heart, it don't have to. You're not getting beat up with what you know. It's not about education wise. It's your conscience. Your conscience keep messing with you.
Now you know what you know. Why are you here?
Now you trying to negotiate with yourself.
Well, I was coming to see man them. I'm gonna be here just another 30 minutes.
Come on now.
Another 30 minutes, and I promise, Self, I'm out of here. Self, you hear me? Self.
Hello?
Self, where you go?
Right. Yourself don't even believe you. It done left you there. I'm gone. I'll be in the car. Go ahead.
And their thoughts the meanwhile accusing or else excusing one another. In the day when Elohim shall judge the secrets of men by Yahshua HaMashiach, according to my gospel.
Now, understand now, there's some people that don't know that there's going to be a judgment. Why? Because this other byway that was broken off went a little bit too off from the normal path. And in that path that was broken off, they told him, look here, when you die, you go into heaven right away. What does that mean? That means you bypass judgment. You got to understand what does that say? That dying and going to heaven completely bypasses what's in this book. That way you don't have to answer for anything that you've done. You don't have to do any of that. You have died and you are immediately in heaven. And in every funeral that we've gone to, except the ones I did, you are automatically hearing that person is already in heaven. And everyone that I've gone to while I was sitting there, and I'm looking, people like, why you looking like that? I'm trying to figure out how much they pay him to tell that lie. Because ain't nobody read this book for a living and believe that. So I realized something. You're not paying for them to lie to the people. You paying for them to feel good about the lie. Say, there's some people say, man, if I give you $10, you do that. Absolutely not. I ain't doing that. You crazy? All right, I give you $10,000. Wait a minute, now let's talk about it. Wait a minute, let's talk. What is it again? So you're not paying them to do it. You paying them to feel good about doing it. They ain't gonna feel good about doing it about $10. Now wait a minute. Now you said $10,000. Now wait, come on in my office. Come on in my office. Let's sit down, baby. Get him some coffee. Get him some coffee. We finna talk here, cause I'm starting to feel good already. $10,000. We got some bills. It's gonna take care of it. See, that's my look when I'm looking. What it took for him to feel comfortable with that, cause I know he don't believe it. Go ahead.
When you look at this whole thing, we go back to being a nation of priests. What did Yahweh say? He already gave the nations up to worship the host of heaven. So they already had a head start on what they're worshiping. Now we coming back and trying to bring precepts to them of stuff that's been way before we were set up as a peculiar people. So we got a great fight on our hands.
Oh, most definitely. Well, Yahweh gonna help us with that fight, though. He has a way of motivating you. When you're in the middle of your vanity, can't nobody tell you nothing. You know what I'm saying? So Yahweh has a tendency, just reach out and touch someone. You know what I'm saying? And when you reach out and touch you, all of a sudden you can hear the most faint, of calls. Somebody yelling at you, Esaac, Esaac. You don't hear that. When he reach out and touch you,
What you say? You said something?
all of a sudden your hearing get a whole lot better once he reach out and touch you. So we're not gonna have to do all that on our own. It's gonna be some real long distance reach out and touch, and then all of a sudden you're gonna find that the hearing gets better when you've been touched. Go ahead.
Behold, you're called a Yehudim, and resteth in the law, and maketh your boast of Elohim.
Now, this is the Jew. The other people are not. They don't rest in the law. They are not instructed out of the law. It just said the uncircumcision, which were the Euro Gentiles or the Gentiles, period. They were not given the law, so they can't rest in something they wasn't given. They can't operate in something that they wasn't given. They don't understand nothing about it. If he turned around and told these people from the get-go that they were going to have to do this, it probably been 2 Gentiles in the world. But as things go, what he's laying on them is, look, your conscience ought to convict you. So I ain't going to tell you got to do it. You should come tell me you want to do it. Okay?
And knoweth his will, and approveth the things that are more excellent, being instructed out of the law.
Wait a minute. This is the New Testament, and it's saying how Israel is instructed out of the law, but not the Gentiles. So that whole, there's only one path, somebody ain't telling the truth. Go ahead.
And are confident that you yourself are a guide of the blind, a light of them which are in darkness, an instructor of the foolish.
Now, how can you instruct the foolish if you wasn't instructed out of the law? How can you instruct them? We just gonna go around and saying a bunch of phrases. We are more than conquerors. You're not teaching anybody about saying that. Go ahead.
A teacher of babes, which has the form of knowledge and of the truth in the law. You therefore which teaches another, teach you not yourself. You that preaches a man should not steal, does you steal?
Why would one teach that a man should not steal? If the law and all law is nailed to the cross, then there's no reason to teach someone not to steal. Matter of fact, you can steal in the name of Jesus. Go ahead and steal it and then put his name on it. While you on your way out the door, say, won't he do it? If there ain't no law, then you don't have to worry about that. Why is this even here if there's no law? Stealing, now we got to go right back to the beginning. He says, you're going to be a peculiar treasure unto me. Wait a minute. These instructions that he was given, here they go. Here they go. They right here in the New Testament. And people say, oh no, we left all that behind. Wait a minute. The same thing that he was saying in the old, here we go. And not only does he say it, Yahshua say the same stuff. Yahshua is going and talking about marriage. You got folks say, look, his marriage didn't work out. I got me a divorce. I'm out of here. Yahshua said, wait a minute, from the beginning it was not so. He said, what was you doing? But see, we understand we were not raised in that culture. So now you have one person that believes one thing and another entity that believes in something else. And let me tell you something. You ain't going to have nothing but some problem with that. Go ahead.
When you look at it, because you constantly, have to figure out who Saul is talking to when he's talking. And right here, this is a Yehudim self-check. You that says a man should not commit adultery, does you commit adultery? Mm-hmm. You that abhorrest idols, does you commit sacrilege? You that makest your boast of the law, through breaking the law dishonoreth you Elohim? Mm-hmm. For the name of Elohim is blasphemed among the Gentiles through you, as it is written.
The name of Elohim is blasphemed among the Gentiles through you because you are teaching things that you are not doing. They don't even have to do it. They haven't gotten in that far. They babes in the word. But they're looking at you like a professor. You telling them all this kind of stuff. Let me tell you something. The person who's been here a short amount of time can go and run circles around 20-year deacons. Don't get it twisted. Let one of them 20-year deacons run into one of these 9-year-olds. They're going to wish they hadn't done it. They're going to wish they hadn't done it. Go ahead.
For circumcision verily profits if you keep the law. But if you be a breaker of the law, your circumcision is made uncircumcision.
So we didn't even understand after being separated from it. We don't understand the covenant that is within our own body. Then you have other people now who have taken hold of the circumcision. They don't even know what it means. It wasn't given unto the Gentiles. Now, they have taken on that circumcision, but then you got to understand what else you made yourself liable for. Go ahead.
Therefore, if the uncircumcision keep the righteousness of the law, shall not his uncircumcision be counted for circumcision? And shall not uncircumcision, which is by nature, if it fulfill the law, judge you, who by the letter and circumcision does transgress the law? For he is not a Yehudim, which is one outwardly, neither is that circumcision, which is outward in the flesh. But he is a Yehudim, which is one inwardly, and circumcision is that of the heart, in the spirit and not in the letter, whose praise is not of men, but of Elohim.
So the circumcision of our heart is what condemns us and say, hey, look, we can't partake in that. Say, hey, man, but they got some real good food in there. You know, all of it ain't pig. Man, we can't go in there. Well, my heart condemning me. People saying, well, you know, it's because of the law. No. It's because of the circumcised heart that I'm trying to maintain. My conscience is eating me up. They think, oh, it's because you touch not, taste not, because of all the law. It's not the law that I'm fighting with. It's myself. I know what. See, my kids might not know what ham tastes like. I know what ham tastes like. My kids don't know what crab legs taste like. I know what crab legs taste like. My kids don't know what lobster tastes like. I can tell you what every part of that sea roach tastes like.
Ribs.
Oh, real? Let me tell you something, bro. Bro, stop. I was upset when they said, yeah, you know they got beef ribs too. I was like, what are these? Once you get used to pork, everything else is strange. Everything else is strange. So when you talk about these things, it's something that's like a special step when you know what you're missing. So you know, a child who gets circumcised on the 8th day never knows the difference. But a man who got circumcised at 30, he know the difference. He know the difference. So there's a different level of sacrifice that we don't really even consider. Let's go to Galatians chapter 2. And we have to remember, first of all, it says he that is circumcised is a debtor to do the whole law. Now we're gonna go read that, so you don't take my word for it. Galatians chapter 2, though, I want you to read verse 7.
But contrariwise, when they saw that the gospel of the uncircumcision was committed unto me, as the gospel of the circumcision was unto Cephas.
Now wait a minute. So when somebody says that there was one path, you have two directions here. There's two different leaders. You have Cephas, who was given the circumcision. You have Saul given the uncircumcision. And in this same place, they ended up having a little bit of an altercation. Why? Because they're both honed in on their office. They're so honed in on their office that one causes an issue with the other one. But that's two different paths. That is two different paths, and it is just outwardly visible that they're two paths. So this whole thing of believing that, hey, it's just one path and we all do the same thing. No, we can't. And it's things like this where it gets interesting. This person was ordained for this path. This one was ordained for this one. Now, where it gets interesting is sometimes those paths will cross. You know, you'll be on a state route, and at one point, it'll say Highway 19, and you're like, I'm on Highway 19. You ride a little further, they say, you know, you're on Highway 19 and Highway 24. Now, how in the hell I'm going to be on 19 and 24? Because they run together right now. Now, they're going to run together for about 5 miles. But 19 going to split off to the left, and 24 going to go straight. Now, when this split off happen, which way you going to go? Because just because they were on this road here together, they were never the same. Even though you was on the same road. 19 and 24 was still different. You didn't realize that until you got to that bypass. All right. Now you got to figure out which one of these paths you're on. So right now, because they're going, a lot of times they go keep these holy days, so that's bringing them on the same road. But they're on the same road, but they got different paths. Interesting. Grab.
You know, recently, you know, a brother brought up the situation of, you know, still having modern day Sadducees and Pharisees with the thought processes. And here we can see that the Yehudim still, we have Yehudim who believe that there is this one path, because those were the ones that Saul kept having encounters with, trying to teach the Gentiles that, no, this is the way and this is the only way. And we see that we still have those people with that mindset.
Hey, brother, didn't we have to run somebody off if we're going to try to sacrifice a baby lamb? And the man, you don't get up out of here? I swear, boy, you don't get, run now. Hey, man, you're going to always have, what I find interesting is how the powers that be like to group all of us together, but they don't do that same thing to themselves. If one of them does something wrong, they don't all take the blame for it. When it happens with us, then we all need to get together and condemn this person. We need to do this. Now all of us have to be made responsible for what this one individual did. But it's interesting how that does not go to all the other areas and all the other individuals or the other ethnic groups. Go ahead.
Continuing Galatians.
You know what? Let's go. Let's go to Romans chapter 4. And start that at verse 1.
What shall we say then that Abraham our father, as pertaining to the flesh, has found? For if Abraham were justified by works, he has whereof to glory, but not before Elohim. For what says the scripture? Abraham believed Elohim, and it was counted on to him for righteousness.
Stop. We really don't understand how powerful that is. He believed Elohim. He believed Elohim about his own life. He believed Elohim, even though, now understand, now that first part was a little rocky now. Y'all, you know what I'm saying, you're going to be a father of many nations. That don't sound like belief right away. But after he got past his initial shock, all right. How did he believe? All right, go sacrifice your son. You know, the one of promise, the seed of promise. Now, yeah, go sacrifice him. Well, I believe the stuff that you told me before. And you told me that through this boy, I'm going to do all these things. So I don't know how, but I'm going over here and I'm going to sacrifice this boy. And somehow me and this boy coming back. Matter of fact, he believed so much he told the people, hey, look, y'all stand here. Y'all came with me, but y'all can't go with me and my boy. We going over here and we're going to do this sacrifice and then we'll be back. To the point where Esau confused. So I see all the stuff. But what a lamb for the offering. Yahweh shall provide. See, this is faith before there's any idea. So when people talk about belief, he believed and it was accounted unto him for righteousness. Everybody can believe when all the signs of what you need is there. But can you believe when there is absolutely nothing telling you, oh, absolutely, this is going to work out. So we got this, you got all the ingredients. What happened when you don't have any of the ingredients? What happened when you're walking and he says, I need an offering. I need you to bring me an offering. Come and offer this child. You don't have anything to say how he's going to do it, if he's going to do it, but he believed him and it was accounted unto him for righteousness. How deep is the belief that we have that it could in turn be accounted unto us for righteousness? That's something that we have to ask. How much? See, what does it take for us to be in that situation? Go ahead, brother. You got something?
We just moved on from it, but I still got a question about it. The two system situation. Hey, please correct me if I'm wrong, but ain't that kind of a cop out though? Because some folks want to. Well, because I got into an argument with a young lady said, you want to take the harder path, you want to go the tough path, you want to do the Sabbath and all that. Well, it's two paths, you can just take the easy way with me. I'm like, nah, why would we even, like, isn't that kind of a cop-out though? Is that still cool for some folks to choose that we can?
Well, our first question is, who are those folks? Because there's a Jew and a Gentile. Mm-hmm. See, our problem is we trying to take a path that wasn't designed for us. Most of the time when you talk about that easy route, it's us trying to take somebody else's route. Wait. You don't get to choose that route. Oh, you thought you got to choose your route? You don't get to choose your route. And then on top of that, he still put that on them if your heart convicts you to follow the law. Here's the difference. He told us because it was given to us in the beginning. But at the same time, he was saying, circumcise the foreskin of your hearts. The whole part about it is that you get to the point where you want to keep it. Not that you've been made to do it. Let me tell you something. When somebody's made to do something versus when somebody has joy in doing it, it's a totally different job. See, you got somebody who might get up in the morning and make you breakfast. They don't want to. Then you got somebody who like getting up making you breakfast. Boy, that breakfast tastes different. They stir the grits different. Because they wanted to do it. When they don't want to do it, what is this? You got that mystery meat in there. What is that that's floating around in there? They didn't want to do it. So they put half effort in there. They didn't want to do it. Well, that's already a level that they are putting themselves on with Elohim because they didn't really want to do it. Go ahead, brother. You have something?
Now, you really just said what I was going to say. Like, it shouldn't be an arduous task to do the things which we're told and we're instructed to do. I mean, none of it's really hard, if you think about it. So the easier task is, how much easier do you want it to be other than just to be obedient and do what you're told to do? But you already went through that.
But you know what? Part of that, what gets us there, we're creatures of habit. Okay? So whenever, and this is what the adversary, the devil, knows. If I can get you accustomed to something, you're going to automatically feel like you're losing something when I put it back in the right order. See, so if from the get-go you allow kids, I don't care who it is, wife, husband, you allow all of these things, and then one day you come and say, you know what? We got to get this house in order. Everybody in there acting the fool. What are you talking about? We ain't been cleaning up. Talking about we got to clean. I was raised in filth. So now you're going to have to argue with them long enough for them to get accustomed to not being in filth. Then it becomes normal. But when they are accustomed, and this is why the adversary, the devil, needs to get to us first. He needs to get to you and teach you his custom. He needs to get you to having it to be a regular thing to deal with things the way he wants you to deal with it. So that when something else is presented, you're going to automatically fight. You're going to automatically, fight against, those things, because it is not what you have habitually done. Habits are the things that builds culture. So these things are thrown at us at an early age. So by the time we find out the truth, we may say, you know what, I believe that that's the truth, but I'm not trying to stop what I'm doing. I done got used to this now. And when you get right down to it, all of us got something. Like some of us, the day we heard about, the pig is a filthy beast, we were like, you know what? Done. It was over, just like that. But then there's other parts that, hey, you like, I don't eat no ham, but they caught you a couple times with that cocktail sauce. You know what I'm saying? Over there in the corner, bro, what you doing with them scrimps? What you doing with them scrimps, bro?
I mean, it was in the refrigerator. I was just trying to finish.
Nah, man, come on, bro. What you doing? So we might be strong at one part, but that don't mean you strong over here. All right? So some of them, that's why, you got the ones you can fight today, go ahead and fight them. All right? It might take you a little minute to beat this one over here. Go ahead.
Now to him that works is the reward not reckoned of grace, but of debt. But to him that works not, but believes on him that justifies the ungodly, his faith is counted for righteousness. Even as David also describes the blessedness of the man unto whom Elohim imputeth righteousness without works.
Imputes righteousness without works. He imputes righteousness. That there's something in this individual that he imputes righteousness. Understand, David didn't actually build a house. He just had a desire to. Boom. Done. This is that thing that we don't really consider sometimes, where desire can get us in trouble, because you're desiring some things that you ought not. You have to ask yourself, wait a minute, if a man's entire lineage can be saved because of what he desired, you have to then ask yourself, what kind of problems could you be causing your lineage by what you're desiring? Now, we didn't actually do it. How we hide behind some of our desires. You be like, I ain't do it.
But I tell you what, though. Boy, I tell you, if the wind was northwesterly and came down at a 10% angle, well, good whoop, boy, I was going to do it.
And we know it. So then we have to consider that. He imputed righteousness without works. He didn't do the thing, but yet was imputed as a man of righteousness because he had the thought. And there was more to it. I have to go ahead and go there. It was more than just a thought, okay? There was a thought that was immediately going to come behind action. He's like, look, and he's going to individuals, hey, I want to build Yahweh a house. You have to wonder, how long did he have the thought before he told Yahweh's servant? And he's done so many other things that the servant said, man, go ahead and do everything else you done has prospered. Do that thing. Yahweh had to come back. Hey, man, look, just that you thought about this. Imputed without actually doing the deed. Go ahead.
Saying, blessed are they whose lawlessness are forgiven, and whose sins are covered.
Uh-huh.
Blessed is the man to whom the Adonai will not impute sin.
This is why we keep working. This is why we keep offering. This is why we keep doing all of these things. You're never going to be without sin. Blessed is the man to whom the Adonai will not impute sin. What that mean? That mean you went to court and they throw out your charges? Because you had the right lawyer show up. See, lawyer and judge know each other. You got to get the right lawyer to know the judge. And he not going in there trying to plead. It's not like man's court, where the lawyer is trying to go in there and plead.
Your Honor, he didn't do, I know he was caught with a bloody knife. I know blood was all running down the whole right side of his body. I know his shoe prints was walking through the house tracking the blood. Your Honor, he didn't do it.
That's not how Yahshua protects you. See, we got the wrong thing about his judgment. See? Oh no, this you get when you get the best lawyer in town. In the beginning, it probably sounds like you definitely going to hell. Cause when you get this kind of lawyer, he's gonna be confessing to Yahweh straight up. Oh Yahweh, I tell you, yeah, he did that one. Matter of fact, it's one that they didn't even mention on here that he did. Hey man, are you trying to get me off? Why would you tell them about that one? That was just between us. You weren't supposed to tell him that. Oh, no. He going through it. But then he's going to start going, and this is how he judged himself. This is how she judged herself. This is what she did after that. This is what he did after that. Now, the tarnishing of all those other things are starting to be pulled off. No, he's not going in there pretending like you didn't do it. No, this is a real lawyer. This is a real judge. This is not that crap you see on TV. This ain't how you get off. This is why we really don't understand what's happening. We think the way to get off is by acting like we didn't do it. That's why we don't really understand what's happening here. You don't really understand your lawyer. You don't really understand your judge. What?
You know, brother, if you think there's certain court cases where the judge actually gives stiffer penalties when they look through the whole court case for a week, a month, whatever, and they go, nah, I'm giving you all this time because you have shown no remorse in this courtroom.
Yep.
Verse 9. Comes this blessedness then upon the circumcision only, or upon the uncircumcision also?
Uh-huh.
For we say that faith was reckoned to Abraham for righteousness. How was it then reckoned? When he was in circumcision or in uncircumcision?
All right. So it was reckoned unto him or counted unto him when he was not circumcised, not when he was circumcised. So it's not the circumcision that does that. See, this is where it's the difference between, like, you have these people who will automatically question you, hey, brother, where are your fringes? They think the fringe makes righteousness. The fringe does not make righteousness. The fringe is to remind you to walk in righteousness. But the man who has a circumcised heart, he doesn't need any articles to remind him to walk right. What?
Not in circumcision, but in uncircumcision. And he received the sign of circumcision, a seal of the righteousness of the faith which he had yet being uncircumcised, that he might be the father of all them that believe, though they be not circumcised, that righteousness might be imputed unto them also. And the father of circumcision to them who are not of the circumcision only, but who also walk in the steps of that faith of our father Abraham, which he had being yet uncircumcised.
Uh-huh.
For the promise that he should be the heir of the world was not to Abraham or to his seed through the law, but through the righteousness of faith.
Right. So this was not given through law. Even though we'll look at the Old Testament and automatically go, all of this was given through law. Because a lot of times people want to tell you that this righteousness and faith doesn't show up into the New Testament. Faith is deep in the Old. Deep in the Old Testament is faith. So when all of these statements are made about faith, when you say, look, I don't worship this what you celebrate in. Oh, now see, we operate by faith. Oh, you think because I operate by a code that I don't have faith? You would be wrong to assume. Go ahead.
Faith alone makes me be willing to stand here outside and do this by myself and don't care what y'all think.
Helps guide my code. You think that I have code, so I must not have faith. Faith is what put me on the code. Go ahead, bro.
I was gonna say it's quite the opposite. It take a whole lot of faith to believe in something a lot bigger than yourself to actually keep all of these things that are written or what have you. So I think it's quite the opposite. I think we operating by faith by doing the things what does say.
And not only that, to be able to do it when everybody ain't standing next to you doing it. So we can go down the street and bust a right, and we're gonna find 10,000 people sitting there. In a couple of days, it's gonna be thousands of people keeping watch night. Now they don't know what they're watching for. But you got thousands of people who finna celebrate watch night. Go and ask them what they're watching for. What y'all watching?
We watching tonight.
But you inside. It's watch night. What you watching? I mean, you can't get any more open worship of a pagan god than watch night. It is what January is named after Janus, the two-headed god that looks into the past and in the future. And I'm telling you, 90% of churchgoers finna go to church on New Year's Eve and celebrate this pagan god. You can't find this nowhere from Genesis to Revelation. Nowhere. Now, how is it that the majority of churches do something that you can't find in this book at all? But then when you go to say that, the people see we operate by faith. So do I. My faith says that I'm going to operate by this code. And this code does not allow me to worship idols. And poor folk, most of these people have no idea. What happened is when we get into something, we trust the individuals who are giving us the information. Now, how we're led to do that is the people who are giving us the information don't share with us where they got it from. That's how we get ruled over. That's why we read. So that when people say, well, Esaac said, back up, read verse 14. Who said that? All right, did you read Esaac in there? Did you read verse 14? Verse 14, Saul said, now I asked Esaac, and Esaac said, I ain't read that yet. Okay, there's a reason why we do that. Go ahead.
Even in that first month, when you always say this should be the beginning of your years, right? The beginning of your first month. He didn't give us no celebration on that first day, did he?
Hey, he's something else, ain't it? Mm-hmm. Look, I want to go to because when you talk about this circumcised heart, go to Luke chapter 7. Luke 7 and start at verse 37.
And behold, a woman in the city, which was a sinner, when she knew that Yahshua sat at meat in the Pharisee's house, brought an alabaster box of ointment.
Now, verse 36, and one of the Pharisees desired him that he would eat with him, and he went into the Pharisee's house and sat down to meat. And behold, a woman in the city, that's her name, a woman in the city, which was a sinner. All right, so that's her first name is woman in the city. Her last name is which was a sinner. All right. When she knew that Yeshua sat at meat in the Pharisee's house, she brought an alabaster box of ointment. All right, keep reading.
And stood at his feet behind him weeping, and began to wash his feet with her tears, and did wipe them with the hairs of her head, and kissed his feet, and anointed them with the ointment. Now when the Pharisee which had bidden him saw it, he spake within himself, saying, This man, if he were a prophet, would have known who and what manner of woman this is that touches him, for she's a sinner.
Okay, now she is a sinner, but how was she able to just come in your house? Was she accustomed to coming in your house? Go ahead.
And Yahshua answered and said unto him, Simeon, I have somewhat to say unto you. And he says, Master, say on. There was a certain creditor which had 2 debtors. The one owed 500 pence and the other 50. And when they had nothing to pay, he frankly forgave them both. Tell me therefore, which of them will love him most? Simeon answered and said, I suppose that he to whom he forgave most. And he said unto him, You have rightly judged.
Right. You have rightfully judged. Then he goes in and says all these things that you have not done unto me. But she has gone that extra mile. You know, the person who you looking down upon. Jump to verse 47.
Wherefore I say unto you, her sins which are many are forgiven, for she loved much. But to whom little is forgiven, the same loves little.
All right. So when you start looking at this circumcised heart and making all of these things, you have to wonder, why does Yahweh choose the people that he chooses? You may look and say, man, this is a harlot. This is a woman about town. He said, you know what? She gonna love me more than you. Okay, now go to Luke chapter 18. See, you think I ought to love you because you've been doing right. I'm telling you, she gonna love me better because she been doing wrong. See, we think we know how he do what he do. You don't know him. Luke chapter 18, start at verse 9.
And he spake this parable unto certain which trusted in themselves that they were righteous, and despised others. 2 men went up into the temple to pray, the one a Pharisee, and the other a publican.
All right, automatically, Pharisee got a better name than a publican tax collector. Who might like him? Go ahead.
The Pharisee stood up and prayed thus with himself, Elohim, I thank you that I'm not as other men are.
Whenever your prayer include how you not like somebody else, I can pretty much tell you there's something wrong with your prayer. How do you turn around in your prayer, oh Elohim, I thank thee that I'm not like this guy. That's your prayer, bro? Go ahead.
Extortioners,
Extortioners, unjust, adulterers. Go ahead.
or even as this publican.
This publican. You know, whenever somebody call you this, go ahead.
I fast twice in the week.
Uh-oh.
I give tithes of all that I possess.
Uh-oh.
And the publican, standing afar off, would not lift up so much as his eyes unto heaven, but smote upon his breast, saying, Elohim, be merciful to me, a sinner.
Uh-huh.
I tell you, this man went down to his house justified rather than the other.
Look at that. Now, all this individual who has done right has zero mercy, has zero compassion for his fellow man, but he can tell you all the things that he did right. He said, you see that? This one right here, who won't even look up? When I bring him up, he gonna love me more than you. Because you thought you paved your own way. He gonna know I paved his street. He gonna love me. And you start to see how he chooses, who he chooses. Go ahead.
For everyone that exalts himself shall be abased, and he that humbles himself shall be exalted.
All right. Back up to Luke chapter 17. Let's start at verse 11.
And it came to pass, as he went to Jerusalem, that he passed through the midst of Samaria and Galilee. And as he entered into a certain village, there met him 10 men that were lepers, which stood afar off. And they lifted up their voices and said, Yahshua, Master, have mercy on us. And when he saw them, he said unto them, Go show yourselves unto the priests. And it came to pass that as they went, they were cleansed.
Now, first of all, there was nothing that said that they are cleansed. They lifted up their voices and said, Yahshua, Master, have mercy on us. And when he saw them, he said unto them, Go show yourselves unto the priest. Now, the first question was, they done seen us. What we showing ourselves to them for? First of all, how are we going to get in there? You ever think about that? They're lepers. How are they going to get in there? They're going to sit and wait for the priest to come outside. How far can a leper go?
But you know, that's that disconnect. We all understand right now, knowing both old and new, go show yourselves onto the priest. The priest is the one that's got to make the final decision that you're not cleansed.
Mm-hmm. So understand, there's nothing been proclaimed. He hadn't said you're healed, but he says go to the priest. Once you go to the priest then announces you ceremonially clean. You come into the sanctuary, you can do all of these things. How you tell me to go, but you ain't told me I'm healed? Good.
And one of them, when he saw that he was healed, turned back, and with a loud voice glorified Elohim, and fell down on his face at his feet, giving him thanks. And he was a Samaritan.
Whoa. Does anything good come out of the Samaritan? Hey, hold on now. He said that, well, Yahshua even said, that woman said the Jews have no dealings with the Samaritans. I mean, y'all don't deal with us. I mean, we family, but not like that. Okay.
You know, it kind of shows, even with that disconnect with the Samaritans, a lot of their heart was in a different place. Because we got the good Samaritan, we got the woman at the well, now we got this Samaritan leper.
Good. And it also deals with your blindness against certain groups of people. Ain't gonna deal with no Samaritan. Ain't gonna deal with no leper. Ain't gonna deal with that woman in the city who's a sinner. You don't deal with her. I mean, at least not while nobody watching. Right. Go ahead.
And Yahshua answering said, Were there not 10 cleansed? But where are the 9?
Where are the 9? Wasn't it 10 of y'all? So at the moment I said go back, all right, all y'all still walked off lepers just like you were. But along that path, somebody looked down and said, my arm looked different. Now you understand that they got to go through this whole thing at this point. Now they got to look at themselves and then ask the other one, what my face look like? Because although they can see their arms, they still can't see their face. So this is happening amongst all of them. One turned around. One. You know how deep that is? When one turns around, you know what we'll do? We'll let the 9 persuade us. No, man, we're going to go on to the priest, man. We'll catch him on, we'll see him, he be going everywhere. We'll see him next time somewhere. Let's go on and go here, man. There's 9 of us going here. You going to go back by yourself? Go ahead.
They're not found that return to give glory to Elohim, save this stranger?
Save the stranger. And people say, well, we want to boast about our heritage. Hold on, whoa. The people who don't have this closest connection, look at what they do. Now you're talking about a circumcision of the heart. So it's not about we're not going to these places. We're not pursuing this because so much of it is in the law. It is because the circumcised heart says, I don't want to do that and betray my Elohim. Not because it's a law. Go ahead.
It's interesting though. If you don't know anybody, he say, save this stranger. But they Israel.
Yeah. But they've been cut off so long. They've been separated so long. And that's, we have to deal with it, bro. We go outside the door. It's somebody who look just like you. But them strange. So, hey, he can go out there and you can find somebody who look just like me. That's strange. That culture is different. And that's something that we have to consider. Verse 19 says, and he said unto him, arise, go your way. Your faith has made you whole. Faith has made you whole. It wasn't the works of the law. It wasn't any of those things. But he believed so much that he inconvenienced himself. He could have made a shorter trip and just kept walking with the others and went to the priest. Once he goes to the priest, he is announced clean. Only once he's announced, like Priest Kish said, can he operate into other things. So the last one took the long route. He has not been announced clean. He's going back to say thank you. But he still has to then turn around and go back. Don't think because he went there, he doesn't have to go back. No. He has to go back. Because the priest has to examine him. I pronounce you ceremonially clean. Now he can go and keep the holiday. Now he can go show up. Now he can go do those things. So they were excited about being pronounced clean. Another one was just excited that he was clean, and I need to go say thank you. Because understand, nothing happened. They wasn't told you're healed. They said go show yourself. So what was in the one heart that wasn't in the 9? If you find that, therein lies the reason I don't go to those things. Not because it's written in the law. Because I want to have that heart that the one had, that the 9 didn't. That's all we're going to do for tonight. Let's leave out with a prayer, please. All right, if all hearts and minds are ready. Abba Father, Most High Covenant Elohim of Abraham, Esaac, and Yaakov. Abba Father, we thank you for giving us another opportunity to gather together to read out of the legacy that you have left unto us. We pray, Abba Father, that you would continue to allow us to grow in this knowledge and understanding that you have hidden here. It's been right in front of us, but it's been hidden all this time. You have allowed us to find these gems, these jewels right in front of us. It was laying on our coffee table, Abba Father, and we had the greatest of knowledge, of wisdom, of understanding right before our hands. But we thank you that you have given us some form of understanding of it, and we pray, Abba Father, that you would continue to magnify our understanding. But we also pray that you would magnify our hearts, that we would have a heart of flesh, and that fleshly heart would direct us in the things that you reveal unto us. Because knowledge is just knowledge if we're not going to walk in those things. So we pray, Abba Father, that you would forgive us of our sins, for there is not one of us that is without sin. We pray, Abba Father, that if we fall and get off this path, that you would restore us and put us back on the path, that narrow path that leads unto righteousness. We pray, Father, that even when you chastise us, we pray that you will do it not in your sore hot displeasure, but in your loving kindness, that we may be brought back into the sheepfold and walk accordingly. We pray, Abba Father, that you would keep a hedge of protection round about this house, round about our houses as well, Abba Father, that we may continually be able to do the things that's are needed to glorify your holy name and to help magnify your wonderful works. We ask these prayers not only for those that gather with us physically, but even those that gather by way of internet, those that desire to be close unto you, Abba Father. We pray that you would count them as being with us physically as if they were standing right here next to us. We ask these prayers in Yahshua HaMashiach's holy and divine name, to whom rule, power, honor, majesty, and might was given forever and ever. Amen and hallelujah.
Amen.